Mabuhay Sinta, I am Nori and we have right to start the discussion about Unit 1 entitled Introduction to Contemporary Issues Shaping Tourism Through a Global Lens. Tourism drives economic growth and cultural connection, but it also faces challenges like environmental pressure and changing traveler needs. Because it is tied to social, political, and ecological systems, understanding these issues is key to creating a more resilient and sustainable industry. To really understand the topic, tourism-wide scope, from business and medical travel to cultural, adventure, and ecotourism, contribute to key sustainable development goals, including economic growth (SDG 8), quality education (SDG 4), health (SDG 3), and the protection of natural and cultural heritage (SDG 11, 13, 14, and 15). Emerging trends such as authentic experiences, sustainable travel, digital innovation, and post-pandemic recovery further align the industry with both the SDGs and the Global Code of Ethics for Tourism, which emphasize cultural respect, environmental responsibility, and ethical resilient tourism practices.
Hi, my name is Irene and I'm here to talk about tourism as a global phenomenon. Tourism is a global phenomenon that shapes economies, societies, and cultures. Economically, it contributes nearly 10% of global GDP and millions of jobs, especially in developing countries. This links directly to SDG 8, decent work and economic growth, but it also shows the risk of over-dependence during crisis. Socially, tourism can empower communities and promote intercultural understanding, supporting SDGs, peace, and strong institutions. However, issues like gentrification and unfair labor practices violate the Global Code of Ethics for Tourism, which calls for protecting communities and ensuring equitable benefits. Culturally, tourism can either preserve or commercialize heritage. A positive example is Japan's Kanazawa, where tourism revenue helped conserve traditional districts. On the other hand, Barcelona's over-tourism shows how culture and resident quality of life can be threatened. To address these challenges, destinations can diversify tourism, support community-based programs, regulate visitor flows, and strictly apply ethical guidelines. With the SDGs and Global Code of Ethics as guides, tourism can foster sustainable growth, social well-being, and cultural resilience.
Mabuhay sa inyong lahat, ang Pilipinas. I'm Shania Fatima Vega to discuss the global challenges and tourism connection. Tourism is closely linked to major global issues like climate change, conflict, inequality, technology, and of course, health crisis. So climate change threatens coastal destinations and biodiversity, while tourism contributes nearly 8% of global greenhouse gas emissions. Conflicts like the Russia-Ukraine war disrupts travel flows and create long-term instability. Inequality also persists with low wages, profit concentration in large corporations, and women facing precarious employment. So digital platforms and AI reshape tourism, and they also introduce regulatory gaps and unfair competition. Finally, events like COVID-19 show how vulnerable tourism is to global health emergencies. So these challenges directly connect with the UN Sustainable Development Goals, especially SDG 8 on decent work, SDG 11 on sustainable communities, and SDG 13 on climate action. They also align with the Global Code of Ethics of Tourism, which promotes sustainability, community welfare, cultural respect, and responsible development. A key problem we can identify in this unit is the unequal distribution of tourism benefits, where local communities have received little compared to large corporations. So one practical solution is implementing community-based tourism partnerships, ensuring local to have ownership roles and wages and opportunities to participate in decision-making, aligning with both the SDGs and the GSAT's call for inclusive and ethical tourism.
Mabuhay! My name is Cheryl Del Ristia and I'm here to discuss selected case studies of global issues affecting tourism. First, we have climate change and over-tourism in Venice, Italy. Venice faces both climate change and over-tourism, with rising sea levels and millions of visitors straining its heritage sites. In response, the city implemented a tourist entry fee to maintain manage visitor numbers. They support SDG 11, sustainable cities and communities, and follows the GSET principle of protecting cultural heritage, and early results show reduced congestion on peak days and increased funding for preservation. Second, we have the conflict and tourism in the Middle East. In destinations like Syria and Yemen, tourism collapsed due to long-term conflict. This highlights tourism's dependence on peace and stability. Rebuilding efforts center on SDG 16, peace, justice, and strong institutions. And GSET's call for tourism to promote mutual understanding. Recovery programs focus on heritage restoration and community-led tourism when conditions allow. Third, we have the COVID-19 and domestic tourism in the Philippines. During the pandemic, as we can see, international travel stopped, yet domestic tourism became a lifeline. Filipinos turned to rural and nature-based tourism, supporting SDG 8, decent work, and economic growth. This shift also strengthened community-based tourism, aligning with GSET's emphasis on local empowerment. Last, we have the technology and the sharing of economy. And in Barcelona, Airbnb boosted tourist arrivals but caused housing concerns for locals. As we can see, the government responded with stricter regulations, which is an example of SDG 10, reduce inequalities, and use its principle of respecting host communities. These measures help balance economic benefits with residents' quality of life. These cases remind us that tourism must evolve responsibly. Through ethical action and alignment with the SDGs, we can ensure that tourism remains a tool for sustainability, inclusivity, and global cooperation. Thank you.
Mabuhay, Sinta! I am Mary Angelique S. Hilwa. Now that we have discussed Unit 1, Introduction to Contemporary Issues, this unit showed that tourism is both a powerful economic driver but a vulnerable sector. We saw how definitions, scope, and trends highlight its growth but also its risks. It creates jobs and preserves heritage, yet faces risks from climate change, over-tourism, and conflict. Unit 1 is deeply connected to sustainable development goals like SDG 8, SDG 11, SDG 13, SDG 15, and SDG 16. And let us not forget Global Code of Ethics for Tourism that guides sustainable tourism practices. Article 1, Article 3, Article 4, and Article 6. Therefore, we must apply the sustainable goals and ethical guidance to a more sustainable future. For example, Baguio City must adopt the visitor registration system, especially during peak seasons, to manage over-tourism and protects its fragile environment. Promote low-carbon travel through initiatives like EDSA Carousel Bus rapid transit system that reduces emissions in Metro Manila. Lastly, education also plays a role in embedding SDGs and GSETs. I believe this should not be implemented only in tourism, but it should be mandated to all programs because at the end of the day, we are all tourists in our own country and in the world. Tourism reflects both opportunities and contradictions, and it is our responsibility to ensure it becomes a driver of sustainability, inclusivity, and resilience for the future generations. That will be all for our group. Thank you for listening.